How's everybody? So we're in Nurnberg, traduction Nuremberg for all of you in the States. I just learned it's Nurnberg in German. I thought it was two different cities actually, so whatever. But we just finished our seminar here in Germany, second one in the European tour, and different.
Very different from Holland.
I felt we had more athletes on this one, less coaches.
Yes. There was a lot more of how to apply the systems than the theory, and in Utrecht it was a lot more theory based.
Yeah, I felt like we had a lot of coaches in Holland, and so they were really asking the questions to understand the principles so they could take it back to their gym and apply it themselves, whereas at this one there were a lot more questions that you could tell were directed, it's okay man, you can go. They were directed mostly at themselves.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but what about me? Basically, like, I learned this. My coach told me that.
Right.
And we had actually a bunch of questions like that. They were really like, well, my coach told me this.
Can we just bring up that whole muscle scenario and breaking the arm?
Oh yeah, and
that was a bit
okay, so
funny.
we're going over like the whole principle and everything. And one of the guys is an MMA guy, so just like me. And his entire point, we started a conversation with, my coach told me that. And then he ended up that his coach told him like to bench press, he had to basically externally rotate. So that's why the guy didn't like bench pressing for his athletes, because punching is internal and bench pressing is external rotation.
Yeah.
And I was like, it makes no sense. How do you want me to enter this? Like you externally rotate, so you turn the chest off. And so that's the problem when we have athletes like that, that come and say, my coach told me, is like, I'm not having a conversation with the coach, I'm having a conversation with the athletes based on what the other guy said. Right. And the other guy obviously was wrong, saying the bench press externally rotate. So I'm trying to say, okay, so what are you saying? You're saying like if you take dumbbells, so we go into that entire conversation, which really didn't go anywhere, outside of him saying, that what you say make more sense. I was like, yeah, no shit.
Just keeping it simple. If you own a CrossFit gym, you're training athletes or people that are coming in for general fitness preparedness.
Right,
Plain and
exactly,
simple.
right.
That's what they're there for. They're not there to do a weightlifting program. They're not there to do a powerlifting program. That's if you're going to be going into some form of competition.
But let's be honest, 98% of people are here just to get fitter.
Right.
Right. And asking us if the Louis Simmons system, so the West Side system, fits better for them to get stronger. I'm like, how about moving correctly first? Like a lot of the questions, because when you ask about method, you're asking about programming, so, like those training method, juggernauts. You're asking about programming. You're asking me what is the best top-end programming for your people at your gym. What they need is not better programming. What they need is to move better. What they need is to understand the fundamentals of movement, how to move correctly so they don't get hurt every time they squat. So they deadlift properly. Way before we go into versus you should start doing deadlift off of blocks because you have a problem with a lockout. How about you can do deadlift without externally rotating every time and hurting your hips every single time and your back hurts for 3 days after that. Like that's really, and that's the point of the entire seminar really, is we're trying to have a system to explain the foundation of the system, the principles, so that we can develop programs for everybody where they move better. The seminar is not to teach you a new method, a new program out there that we're going to sell, where be strong in 12 weeks, be stronger, like we can take your back squat from 500 to 600 in 6 weeks. It's not none of that. We're just trying to establish principles so that all the coaches out there can make better decisions toward their everyday people, so they stop getting hurt. So you stop having people saying, my knee hurts, my shoulder hurts, my elbow hurts, like this is something we see in CrossFit all the time. The elbows start hurting. How do we address that? We don't address that through programming. Louis Simmons programming will not stop your elbows from hurting because you externally rotate on the snatch. Okay, that has nothing to do with programming. It has to do with the fact that you're snatching incorrectly. And it's not just a technical aspect, it's how to create torque the right way. So you go with the way the body is created instead of against it, so that your joints don't start hurting. That's what we're trying to do really. So asking us questions about Louis Simmons or Juggernaut is not the point of the seminar.
Right.
And so to come to what Richard was talking about, like, so the guy after at lunch, he comes to see me and everything. And because I made an expose about this muscle right here, whose name I forgot every time, and saying that the external rotation catching the snatch overhead is creating people going out like this. And if I start to squeeze, you see that muscle starting to shape. right here, which proves that you externally rotate too much on the overhead position, giving a play on the elbow this way, forcing this muscle into hypertrophy. That is not normal. You are not supposed to have this muscle bigger than this one. Gymnasts have this muscle, yes, and so do I, but it's not bigger than this one, now is it? And then that's what we actually saw this weekend. There was 4 or 5 people where this muscle was bigger than that one. And so here comes the guy who says, yes, but Ido Portal said that you need this muscle. And his point was that if you don't have this muscle, I can break your arm. Like the way to resist an armbar is to develop this muscle right there.
Genius.
That's what they all are. So all you MMA guys out there, what you're doing wrong when you're letting your arm pop on an armbar is that you didn't develop this muscle properly. So what you do is you start snatching, and when you snatch, you externally rotate too much, right? Instead of loading properly to internal rotation like you should, start externally rotating on very heavy snatches so that you develop that muscle.
You won't snap your arm.
Exactly. That will allow you to resist arm bars. So if you can tell I'm being sarcastic, obviously Ido Portal has never fought. Love the guy, but I'm sorry, and this one is wrong. He obviously never fought. You can't resist an armbar. This muscle will not help you. You know what happens when the guy catches you in an armbar? He breaks your arm. Because that's actually the point he made. If you don't have that muscle, I'll break your arm.
You know what would be interesting?
No, I'll break your arm. Because you can't resist an armbar. You will always pop your arm.
We should have like a comment series and see who has that overdeveloped muscle and who has shoulder pain.
Yeah.
And let's start with that.
So I'm putting $1,000, I can break your arm on an armbar. There you go. So you come.
Insurance could cover that.
Whatever, I'll pay out of my own pocket. So, okay, no, I'll say it. I'll pay out of my own pocket. It has nothing to do with Strongfit. It's me, Julien, on the side. I will put my own money on this. You develop that muscle, you come to my gym, I put you in an armbar. If your arm doesn't break, I owe you $1,000. If your arm breaks, you owe me $1,000 and then you pay for your own bills. This was the stupidest.
Yeah,
that was really dumb. Please, if you don't do grappling, don't go into the argument on which muscle will serve you from an armbar, because let me tell you right now, no muscle will serve you from an armbar.
You know what sorry, moving on to that point.
Yes. I'll stay on it for 30 minutes.
He'll keep wanting everybody coming to arm bars.
Well, yeah, because it's fucking the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Moving forward.
Yeah, whatever.
Something that I like towards the end is the guy that asked that he didn't understand the Charles Munger stuff, and you said get smarter.
He didn't understand the Charles. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a big one to make people understand, is that we don't necessarily read fitness books or methodology books or Louis Simmons' book, or I think you have, but
no. Well, okay, I read it once just to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So actually, probably read it twice, because the first time I was like, this is complicated,
right.
And then the second time I realized he's saying the exact same thing every 3 pages. But
I think
probably read everything once, maybe.
That's a very common question, though. Is what do you read? And I remember I asked you that. I think like 6 months into our training, you're like, go read the history of Einstein, go read Charles Munger, and once you start to learn to apply those principles that have nothing to do with fitness, but you can apply them into everything, into everyday life, into your fitness world, into all that stuff, that's when you can truly start picking up what we're trying to teach in the seminar.
Yeah, because that was the question, basically, was how to be a better coach.
Right.
I was like, be a better human being. Seriously, work on yourself to be a better human being. I can guarantee you'll become a better coach. If it's like, oh, I don't understand how to translate Charles Munger stuff into training, then become smarter.
Right.
Like Charles Munger says it in his stuff, is you don't need a high level of understanding of psychology, but you need to have some understanding. So go read Freud, like Dr. Freud, go read all of his stuff, then go learn math, go learn physics, just become smarter, but not just, you're not going to become smarter by reading the books about training, because it's all the same. Periodization is the same thing over and over and over again. Really, if you read, I've read enough to tell you it's all the same. So just move away from that. Go read Plato, go read Socrates, go all the Greek literature, and then move to history, then move to math or science and some biology. And again, you don't have to become a PhD, but have some understanding of hard science, and then after that into psychology, and that will make you smarter. When you are smarter, you will be a smarter coach. When you are a better human being, you will be a better coach. This is way past fitness. Like you're never gonna get, like most of the stuff I talk about does not come from training. Right now I'm at a stage where I read very, very little about training. I mostly read about people that fascinate me, like Einstein, like Isaac Newton, like those people that had a way to look at the universe in a different way. Those great intellectuals. That's what really fascinates me, because if you can apply even 1/100th of their principles that apply to life or anything toward training, you'll be tremendously smarter than everybody else.
Right.
That's the thing too. And so that's the key to me, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going past, there was a lot of people that at the seminar, they would fight you on something. Like, well, my coach told me to do it. And you're like, why? And they had no answer. What's the point?
Yeah, because every time I would go back and it's like, okay, but why is it that you should do it that way? And they were like, my coach told me. I'm like, I understand what your coach told you. I'm asking you why you are doing it. That was actually really the conversation the entire time. He's like, well, like that method says that, like, or that my coach said that. I was like, I am not asking anybody to take me on faith. The difference between faith and science is that science can make predictions. I am not asking you to take me on faith or to believe anything I say. I'm laying out the principles and I want you to come to your own conclusions based on those principles. That's what I'm doing. I use hard principles that really cannot be denied.
Right.
From there, I came up with my own conclusions. Am I wrong with those conclusions? Obviously, I don't think so, but I might be. So what I want you to do is to take the hard principles we're using and apply them yourself into your own methods and move forward. But what I don't want is those conversations where the answer is my coach told me.
Right.
Yes, I know your coach told you, that's what you've been saying. What I'm asking is why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Are you doing it because he told you to? That's not good enough. You have to understand why you are applying those principles, what those principles entails, how you're applying them, why you're applying them. And every time that was my question, it was like, I understand what you're saying. I'm asking you why this works and this not. Like I kept asking the guy, are you saying that a bench press this way is stronger than a bench press that way? And what are basically 99.9999% of powerlifters doing? He was like, well, this is stronger. It's like, then why are you telling me?
Right.
And this is, because your coach, and then that was a conversation, and as finally within 10 minutes, he was like, okay, what you're saying makes sense. I was like, yeah, I hope so anyway. Thank you, because the guy was saying bench press will
But he had shoulder pain too at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
He kept doing it, he's like, but my shoulder hurts. Yeah.
So, but does it make sense to turn the chest off when you bench press? Do you want to take the pectorals out when you bench press?
Right.
No. But
By the way, I think there needs to be a video done about how to bench press properly, because
must be. Yeah, because they all externally rotate on the way down and they externally rotate on the way up.
And somehow,
Same problem as a squat, actually.
I don't remember who it was, but I remember watching it was a video that they put out about how to bench press, and they're saying bend the bar, and they were saying snap the bar, and when they snap the bar, they were doing this, but it's not snap the bar here, it's snap the bar backwards.
Yeah. So you
it's
externally rotate on the way down,
Right.
externally rotate on the way up.
And
Pull,
so
push.
But when they start saying to bend the bar, they start thinking of this movement right here. They
Yeah.
start loading up, and that's where most of the pain comes in the shoulder.
Yeah, because they move the elbow and
Right.
everything, and so they do
Those
this
are
at the
the-
bottom because their biceps can't take it, and so there's a number of things that go wrong. But the guy basically was saying like bench pressing will make you worse at punching
Right,
because it's all about not having tension when you punch.
right. Yeah, because it's
like-
fast.
This fast. I was like,
I will say we had the quietest crew after the workout on Saturday, though. That was good. I mean, we just had bodies laying around everywhere.
I've never had 25
Pukers.
people that know the sound. It was awesome.
That was a good one. They all learned the intensity aspect of things. There was a couple that didn't quite get it, and so I told them they had 20 seconds to do it, or everybody gets burpees, and the lesson was learned very quickly.
Very quickly. And then some people had to do burpees, but
Yeah.
that happened once.
Yeah.
After that, they
Yeah.
learned. That was cool. So yeah, that's what we've been doing more. Like on Saturday afternoon, we talk about intensity versus pain, and then we put everybody out there and then show them what real intensity is.
Right.
They're all laughing because they're like, yeah, we know what we're gonna get. I was like, no, you don't.
Oh, it's gonna hurt.
No, you don't. It's gonna be far worse than you think. And they were like, yeah. I was like, nah, you guys really don't understand. But eventually they did.
Yeah, it was good.
It was cool. That was fun. They came back on Sunday. It was better.
Yeah, they were a little more alive.
Yeah, so we had to do a little bit more actually of assessment than I expected, just to prove a point basically. Because I think there was a moment where I had to prove that I could make certain predictions based on the principles and applying them to everybody, so they would go, oh, all right, so he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
I don't know if it's like a German-French thing or whatever it was, but I had to make my points a little bit more forcefully on that one than I did in Holland. So, but I think it's good because they're athletes versus coaches, and what I say goes against what their coaches are saying.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that creates more
the
tension.
problem is.
Yeah, I think so. Like the coaches are more willing to challenge themselves. Like what I'm really telling them is their coaches are wrong.
Right.
And so I don't.
That's where
I think it's a little bit harder for them to wrap their hand around.
Yeah.
But the cool thing, speaking of coaches, is we're getting a lot of HQ seminar on TAF, the European
and they're all
HQ
super
seminar.
stoked on everything, so it's cool.
They've been super nice. I think by the end of the tour we'll have like 80% of the
Something
HQ
like
staff in Europe, doing the seminars and everything. So they're all starting to join in, and they've been super helpful actually.
Yeah.
Great energy. They help us with everything. It's been really cool. Yeah, it's been really cool.
I'm really excited.
I've been really excited, and they have so much energy toward it, to our learning, and everything. That is cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I haven't felt that kind of energy in a long time in CrossFit. Like maybe it's the Torrance area where I was, where there's so many CrossFit gyms. Yeah, well, because there's so many of them. I mean, like it's 10 gyms in like 10 square miles, and nobody talks to each other. It's a different energy.
Right.
This was really cool. They're all amped about learning. They're jumping on the system and everything. It seems I'm actually talking about a lot of stuff that Greg Glassman used to at the beginning of CrossFit. Like a lot of things we would agree on principles and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
It'll be an interesting one. Next up we have Portugal. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a smaller seminar.
I understand, yeah.
But we're gonna be in Portugal.
It's my first time. I'm probably gonna do the seminar in English and Portuguese. Right. Because translation sometimes seems to be an issue. Yeah, it seems to be. There'd be certain words, so I'm sure they're gonna correct me on every time I make a mistake. I have no doubt about that. But no, overall, I've been very, very, very happy. Yeah, like we've been in Europe for like 3 weeks now. 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it. It's been really a blast.
It has.
It's not tiring. I've actually a lot.
Everybody's super excited to learn. The physios, the coaches.
Yeah, we have a lot of PTs
athletes
coming.
Yeah.
Well, again, we have like 4 or 5.
We have 4 or 5 in this one too.
Yeah, and then and in London we have even more.
Yeah.
We have so many PTs coming to this. I'm very excited about that because they want to learn how to apply that to their people. I mean, that's a big mountain to climb, but I'm very happy about that. We have a lot of HQ staff. We have a lot of PTs.
Right.
That is turning out quite differently than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
We're super happy, honestly.
I think people just want change, right? I mean, it's
to do it better.
At a certain point, you need to keep progressing. So
yeah, but that's the point we're making about continuing education. Continuing education is not transferring to game athletes or top level athletes or pro teams. Continuing education is just become better as a coach for your everyday people. Exactly. That's what we want to do really at Strongfit. Is the everyday people, your everyday people deserve a better coach. The point is not to get that coach and to make him better so he can go train a pro team. The point is that it gets better for your people. Better PT for top level athletes. No, for everybody. That's the point. This is 98% of people in fitness anyway. Right. And it's not about whether 3 sets of 3 or 4 sets of 3 are going to make a difference.
Just do it properly.
Strength level, like is it 83% or is it 84%? Let's have a 2 weeks conversation about that. Yeah. I mean, like the point is really like, they need to move better on the squat, they need to deadlift better. It's not just a technique issue, it's just a rotation issue. Right. Certain imbalances that needs to be fixed so that shoulders stop hurting. Yeah. That's what this is about, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, so the next stop is Portugal, and after that we head to England. And Bath. Okay, but do we say Bath or do we say Bath?
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
We should. So I'm gonna try to do the entire thing.
Charlotte?
Yeah. Is it Bath?
Bath.
Oh, it's Bath.
Bath.
But it's Thames.
No, it's
Thames.
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 You know you take Tums in the US for your stomach?
It's not even Thames.
With an E. Thames.
So I'm going to do the next few podcasts in England with a British accent.
Right.
And I'll put my better Inspector Clouseau impersonation possible. And then we'll move forward. I hope you guys get to understand me when we're in England. And we say Times.
Said Times.
Times. We get Times.
Brilliant.
Times.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, so the British lady's getting pissed. So
we'll see you guys next one.
We will see you next week after the one in Portugal.
Awesome.
See you guys
Later.